my grandfather's house sprawls atop the hill, teeming with ebony-windowed rooms. Its towers, gables, and pinnacles are crowned with spires that might have suggested a congenial family home if I were approaching anywhere other than the hollow manse that is Linwood Manor. Even when we were children, we barely stirred the air in its vast rooms and halls, but it never felt empty when we were together. Now that I'm almost the only Bancroft remaining, I feel like the lone mouse in a haunted castle. I wish not for the last time Mattie would leave this place behind for good. It's October when I return to Bennett's graveside for the first time since the funeral. The leaves rain down, gold and red, stirring about my feet as I walk the long line of Bancroft headstones. Each name evokes a face in vivid detail. Henry Lloyd Bancroft, Francis Henry Bancroft, Helen M. Bancroft, and next to the empty plot which will one day bear my name, Abigail Ruth Bancroft. Mattie and I are waiting to be brought to life as the land was. She, far more than I, is at risk of dwelling in eternal winter, as though she's paused on the doorstep to another world. The faintest nudge will pull her out of this one, beyond my reach. I'll be left alone. It's no use trying to convince Mattie of these things. She sees a wall of grief before her, and nothing beyond. It's my responsibility to carry her onward, to keep both of us moving forward. Mattie, are you all right? Neither of us is all right, Ambrose. She clutches the thorny stem till a bead of blood appears. It runs sluggish down her wrist. Of course not, I whisper. But this morning you seem much improved. I'm taken aback by this sudden change. She brings her pierced thumb to her mouth. Do you suppose any of it meant anything? All those years we lived together. You act as though their absence means nothing to you, Ambrose. You seem so content. How do you do it? How do you move on so easily? I've never heard Mattie speak this way. Taking her hand, the wounded one, I hold it tight. What do you mean? Of course, I feel their loss as much as you do, Mattie. I just happen to be a little more used to it, I suppose. Life marches on, does it not? But my heart squirms. I haven't forgotten anything. I can't forget. If I'd really moved on, would I still be here at Mattie's side, pleading for her to be well again? Would I be willing to do almost anything to keep her alive? The wilting woman came to me, smelling of despair. She stepped through my doorway and paced the length of me, squinting at my corners and windows. After a few minutes, I let her feel my presence, like a shadow moving under the surface of water. I softened my voice and spoke to her from one of the rafters. Hello again. She raised her chin, sharp as a dove, wary as a serpent, and gazed into my dim ceiling that reached far above her head. These creatures are so small that the wilting woman was not as small as some who'd visited me. I shrugged into the walls and exuded from them a pleasant scent. I found that something akin to fresh pine pleases these creatures. The wilting woman smiled. She stepped to the wall and brushed her fingers against the wood I was wearing. Miss Holmes' arms are wrapped around her waist, as though she feels out of place here. She probably doesn't remember all the bouquets of truth she's offered me over the few months of our acquaintance. Her words were always attractively arranged and presented with unconscious grace, penetrating my callous defenses. She might never know how much of a heart's balm they were to me. "Dear Tothill," I tell her, "I wish you'd never come to Linwood Manor. You don't deserve to suffer so much on behalf of us Bancrofts. What good have we ever done for you?" "Now listen ye here, Ambrose, and listen ye well," Tothill says sternly, taking out her handkerchief and dabbing my sweat-soaked brow. "The love someone else has for you, it's not your responsibility to earn it or deserve it, and no matter what you think to the contrary, I'll never regret loving you, even if you are the only one I have left, even if I lose you too." Taking my face in her hands, she places a kiss on my forehead and makes me look her in the eye. "You're worth it, laddie.